Alright, so this lesson's on compounding interest. The formula for compounding interest is A equals P times the quantity 1 plus R over N to the N times T power. A is the amount of money after T years. Unlike simple interest, where if you have I equals PRT, I just represented just the simple interest that you earned. A in this case represents the amount of money you put in and the interest that you earned as well. So it gives you the total altogether. P is the principal that you put in. R is the annual interest rate. This should be principal. Go to PAL. R is the annual interest rate. T is the number of years. N is the compounding. Okay, so this is how we get our N. If it's compounded annually, N is equal to 1. 1 time per year. If it's compounded semi-annually, semi meaning half, N equals 2. 2 halves in a year. If it's compounded quarterly, how many quarters in a dollar?
4.
How many quarters in a year? 4. Same concept. If it's compounded monthly, how many months in a year?
12.
N is 12. And then lastly, if it's compounded daily, how many days in a year? 365 days in a year. If N is not given, they don't tell you how it's compounded. Okay? If they do not tell you how it's compounded, assume it's compounded annually. So N in this case would be 1 if it's compounded annually. Let's try one. My formula on top, I have $38,000. I'm going to earn 7%, compounded annually for 2 years. So $38,000 is my principal, 7% is my interest rate, compounded annually. N equals what? 1. And for 2 years, so T equals 2. Plug this into my formula. So A equals 38,000 times the quantity 1 plus R, which is 7%, but you have to convert your percent into a decimal. Okay, make sure you do that. 0.07 divided by 1 to the NT power, or 2 times 1 power. You can simplify this. 38,000 times the quantity 1 plus what's 0.7 divided by 1? 0.07, and 2 times 1 is just 2. You can simplify this a little further, or you can plug this right into the calculator just like this. Let's go right into the calculator this way. So in our calculator, we're going to hit 38,000 parentheses 1 plus 0.07. Close my parentheses. For these particular calculators, you have the caret, and then you're going to hit 2 for my square. Plug that into your parentheses and see what you get. So after plugging this in, you should have got an answer of $43,506.20. Let's try the next one. Next one is $315 at 3.4%, compounded semi-annually for 3 years. So again, my P is my 315. My R is 3.4%, which we're going to convert into a decimal. Compounded semi-annually, so N is going to equal 2 semi-annually. For 3 years, so T equals 3. Use my formula. A equals $315 times the quantity 1 plus R, which is going to be 0.034, divided by 2, close parentheses, and then to N, 2 times T, which is 2 times 3 power. We're going to put this in our calculator all at once. The only thing I suggest is prior to putting this in the calculator, your exponent, 2 times 3, don't put it as 2 times 3, just put it in as 6. Okay, you can do that part mentally. So in my calculator, 315. Now depending on the calculators, some calculators are read it a little better, but be careful here, okay? So 315, open parentheses, 1 plus. Now I want the calculator to do this part first. I want the calculator to perform the division first. So in order for me to do that, I need to do 1 plus, open parentheses again, 0.034 divided by 2, close parentheses. And then I'm going to close the parentheses one more time because I opened it with the red. So the red I opened, the red I close. The green I open, the green I close. And then to the power of 6, both the power button, the exponent, we can use the caret to the 6th power. Plug this into your calculator and see what you get. So after inputting this into the calculator, we should have got an answer of $348.53. Let's try another one. 23,600 at 14.8%. This time we're compounding this monthly for 4 years. So P is 23.6, R is going to be 0.148, N here is going to be 12, and T here is going to be 4. A equals 23,600 times 1 plus R, which is 0.148, divided by 12. Close it to the NT power, to 12 times 4 power. Calculator. 23,600 times quantity, 1 plus, I'm going to open up a set of parentheses for this other one, 0.148 divided by 12. Close the parentheses for that. Close the parentheses again for the first parentheses. I'm going to just put the 12 times 4. I'm going to figure that out mentally. And when I put my caret button for my power, 12 times 4 is 48. Plug this into your calculator and let's see what we get. So after plugging this into the calculator, we should have got an answer of $42,505.17. One or two more examples left. $330 at 10.3%, compounded daily for 5 years. So P is 330, R is 10.3, N equals 365 daily. Okay, how many days in a year? 365, and T equals 5. Formula. A equals $330 times the quantity, 1 plus 0.103 divided by 365, close my parentheses, to the NT power, so 365 times 5 power. Okay. Putting this into my calculator, A equals 330 times the quantity, 1 plus the quantity of 0.103 divided by 365, close parentheses again, caret for my power, and I probably would have just done this automatically. I would probably figured out what 365 times 5 is. If you did that first, you would have got 1,825. Your other option here is if you wanted to do it all together, this 1825, if you want to, you could put parentheses here, 365 times 5, and then close parentheses. All right, if you want to do it. I would suggest doing that multiplication first and just putting this in as 1825. Put that into your calculator. So after inputting this into my calculator, I should have got an answer of $552.26. Next question. If you invest the same amount of money or same amount of principal, this should be PAL, sorry. If you invest the same amount of principal at the same rate for the same amount of years, which compounding would earn you the most amount of money? So to answer this last question, which compounding will earn you the most money, what you could have done is taken the same example and just compound this separately. So here's the first example, 38,007% compounded annually for 2 years. So we got that amount, which was $43,506.20. If we did this again, compounded for semi-annually for 2 years, you notice that you get $43,605.87. So when it's compounded semi-annually, we got a little bit more money. If we compound quarterly, $43,657.51. So as you compound more and more and more, your price or the amount of money that you earn should increase. So the winner here would be to compound this daily for 2 years at $43,709.81.